Good day. Thank you for watching this video demo of the new app called Easy CMYK Color Separations for Screen Printing. My name is Colin Fleming. My late father Roger Fleming was the first person to screen print in Johannesburg, South Africa over 70 years ago and owned King Rat t-shirts, Dylene inks and Dyletex, and Oasis fabric paints, back in the day. I have been doing graphics and color separations for over 30 years and I have worked with the biggest and best screen printers in Johannesburg, like the Studio Silkscreen, Stancore, Badge Creations, Earth Uniforms, Create Uniforms, Inner City Inks, and many more. I also taught the art departments at High Tide and Amrod my secret techniques for complex simulated process index, and many other methods of making separating colors for screen printing, and won a few PIFSA awards indirectly through prints that were submitted after I prepared the color separations. I just finished developing this app, Easy CMYK Color Separations for Screen Printing, which is a Photoshop action list that automates the CMYK plus Underbase process, and I wanted you to be among the first to know about it. There are many similar apps available today, but I felt the need for this app because there are none on the market that have ever impressed me or stood up to my methods and workflow as far as quality is concerned. This app uses all of my 30 years of experience to add my techniques into creating the separations already with the halftones pre-made at the desired LPI after automating the highly customized process of making the correct screen angles, dot shape, dot gain clipping for the underbase and so on as separate files that can be easily printed on your laser and inkjet films using any decent inkjet or laser printer. Another significant advantage is that you do not need a RIP or postscript printer to print the positives. This process takes about 2 minutes to automate after the image is quickly and simply prepared by the user by making their image the final print size and making it RGB. It will be as if I made the color separations for you on every job that is done with my app because it is automated. You are guaranteed consistency, which was always the main issue with screen printing CMYK. Let me demonstrate quickly for you. Firstly, you need to install the actions and then prepare the file beforehand by following these easy steps. So to download and install the Photoshop actions, open Photoshop, choose Menu, Window, Actions. Click the menu icon from the Actions windows. Scroll down to load actions. Navigate to the folder where your download is located. Unzip the file. Double-click the ADN file. Finally, click the menu icon from the Actions window at the top of the menu. Choose button View. Done. This only needs to be done once. Prepare your artwork file like this. 1. Open the file. If you are needing a selective underbase, ensure that the background is transparent where the shirt will show through. If unsure how to do so, search YouTube for the many tutorials on the subject. 2. Make RGB. Convert the image to RGB- Menu, Image, Mode, RGB Color. 3. Resize. Size the image to the final print size and make it 600 dpi. Menu, Image, Image Size. Tip. Change the units to mm or cm and ensure the resolution is set to pixels per inch. 4. Layers and channels. Make sure that there are no additional layers other than the main image with the transparent background. Menu, Layer, Merge Visible. Also remove any additional alpha channels if there are any. 5. Rename Layer 1. Rename the image layer to Layer 1 by double-clicking on the text in the layer and changing it. It must be in title case. 6. Save the file. Save the file as cmykseps.psd on your desktop and make sure it's saved as a Photoshop file, .psd, and all caps. 7. Select layer. Ensure layers and channels are selected or highlighted by clicking on them. That's it, you are done. Now sit back and leave the rest to me. I just need you to click on the actions, but it will help if you know what they did. 1. Apply first. What this does is change your Photoshop settings and assign custom color settings for the best CMYK results. These are not standard color defaults but customized especially for screen printing. 2. Make CMYK plus Underbase. This is the main set of actions that takes the guesswork out of the picture for the user, as this converts the RGB image to CMYK and creates 2 underbases for you to choose the one that will work best for you. The selective underbase, which has the black knocked out, and the solid underbase, with white under the black as well. The conversion to CMYK from RGB is far from simply converting it directly in Photoshop, as those settings are made for paper printing, not for screen printing, so this process is highly customized. At this point you may make any slight alterations, if the black is looking too dark after this process. If that happens you may adjust just the black with curves or levels accordingly. Less black is more in this case. The same will apply to the selective underbase, which you may modify the same if need be, but it should not be necessary though. More advanced users can also manipulate any other colors if they want as well, but do not change or add any channels or layers or rename anything, otherwise the next steps will break. 03 Knock out the black, optional. This step can be skipped if you don't need it. What it does is knock out the black from the CMYK colors. This is also known as achromatic black, and this will save ink and prevent the print from accumulating too many ink layers on top of each other, making the overall print a lot lighter and softer, and less plasticky. It will also prevent the black from appearing shiny after printing, making the print more consistent. This is not needed when printing on white fabric or if there is no solid black in your image. 04 Color correct the primaries, optional. Only apply this action if your image has more of a vector look, with large solid areas or logos needing optimal color saturation or brightness. This action forces all of the primary colors which may have inconsistent and varying values to become pure. If something is, for example red, but the values are 92% magenta, 89% yellow, and 7% cyan, it and similar red colors will be changed to 100% magenta, 100% yellow and 0% cyan. This is also known as absolute or saturated, and done to all the primary and secondary colors. This should not be used if the image is a photograph, also known as relative or perceptual. This is similar to conversion intent, relative, saturation, perceptual, and absolute color metric, but simplified here to what is relevant for screen printing. If you don't understand what I just said, don't stress, as it's not important to you right now. Just know what to look out for. This example has a vector look to the image that will benefit from you applying this action. Next to it is a photographic image that does not require this action. That's all you need to know. 05 Make the separations 35, 48, 55, or 60 LPI. These actions will convert your image to halftones at 35, 48, 55, or 60 LPI. Angle them correctly to avoid noir. Apply the correct dot shape and separate them into 6 different monochrome or black files, which will be saved to your desktop as .psd files. You will also get suggestions for what screen mesh to use on what dot size. What is really cool about this process is that it makes the halftones for you, so you can already use these individual files to make the positives without requiring a RIP or postscript printer. I have used this method and made positives on a cheap 400 Rand, or $30, a 4 Phantom laser printer before during an emergency, and had no problems at all. But the next step is the most interesting, which is another first that nobody has been able to do yet anywhere in the world. 06 Combine again. This is so cool. Directly after applying the previous step, this step will take the individual monochrome files that were created and combine them back into a single CMYK color model file and save the new file named CMYK combined.psd on the desktop. The 2 Underbase files are still separate though and saved on your desktop, and in the tabs to the right of this one. These 3 files can now be simply imported into the software of your choice that can print CMYK separations. So instead of carrying 6 files around, you now have only 3. But wait, what about the last cool part? Allow me to quickly go on a tangent and bear with me for a second. Maybe you know this problem very well, or if you are just starting out, this was how things were always done. You need to set up an urgent job needed by the morning for your biggest customer. The artwork was approved 2 minutes before closing time, and the artist had to stay 1 hour later to separate the halftone colors, and print the positives, and had just gone home. A special team was arranged to work into the evening, and the packers have unpacked the garments, and the screens are finally exposed and ready, so you start to set up the machine. Minding the registration carefully, 1 color at a time. By now all the shirts are unpacked and all the staff is waiting on you to hand over the machine all set up and ready. After registering the final color, you notice that the print is looking heavy on the cyan, and way too dark. It looks horrific. So you call your designer to very politely ask them to kindly return to work to fix the colors, but their phone is off. Where do you start to count the losses? Your client will not trust you again. You have to return the garments and hope there is no handling fee on returned goods. You must pay the staff for nothing, and the wasted chemicals and screens just add up to the losses. This is the screen printer's biggest nightmare, right? If only you were able to see exactly how the screen print will look dot for dot, exact colors like it will look when printed, before you exposed the screens and set up the machine. That could have saved so much time, money and frustration, but it's just not possible. Well, never again will you have that problem, because using this app you would have known when the job was approved how the colors would look, and so would your customer, and they would have signed off on that too. Now it's possible. Check this out. Then you take those separate files one step further, again as part of the automated process, and combine these files. You get an accurate true color representation, or chromolan as it is known to photolithographers, to show exactly how the print will look, dot for dot, as a color printout or as part of the layout proof, for the client to approve. This is done before a single screen is exposed. This process alone is worth a fortune for all screen printers, because this is currently not available anywhere in the world, and before this, the only way to tell how a print would look was to actually set it up on the machine and sample print it. Years of experience have taught me that minor changes to the artwork would necessitate the production to come to a halt, while additional positives and screens are made while the factory and staff are standing for at least an hour waiting for the amendments, making that the most expensive and stressful process for any screen printer. Well, imagine their delight when they find out that with this app, that will never be an issue for them ever again, so you can be confident that what you see here is what will print. So print this out in color to keep it as a reference when setting up the machine for printing. You may also show this to your customer as the final proof so that they can sign it off or suggest changes. Once they do approve the artwork at this stage, then you can confidently proceed to make the positives and set up the machine, knowing that there will be no wasted time changing anything on the artwork. The easiest and cheapest way to make professional full color separations for screen printing. Anyone can do it. You get our Photoshop actions, plugins, samples, seamless fabric textures for making layout, and more. You can print on any color fabric, and get lifetime updates, and future add-ons to these CMYK actions. What is required? Adobe Photoshop, latest version. Almost any A4 or A3 laser or inkjet printer or any professional printer can be used for making positives. No rip or postscript required. Laser or inkjet transparency film. PC that is capable of running Photoshop, CorelDRAW X5 or higher, or Adobe Illustrator, Inkscape, free, Serif Affinity Designer, Adobe Acrobat Pro, or any page layout software. You need to know how to remove the background of images in Photoshop and how to import and change colors in CorelDRAW or a similar app. What is automated? The underbase is generated from the transparent background. 2 underbases are generated for you to choose from, a solid white or a selective white underbase, which is automatically clipped, reduced slightly to prevent white from creeping in under the colors. The halftone dots are pre-sized and correctly angled to avoid noir. The CMYK colors are generated in the best way for screen printing. Dot gain is automatically adjusted for. Got any problems? WhatsApp support is available 24/7. So, how much would you expect to pay for this? How about 2,999 Rand, about $175. Go to our website now to place your order, www.kingrat.co.za. Once we receive payment, you will get a link and password for the page on my website where you can download the app and follow the easy instructions and video tutorials to show you the way. If you get stuck, you can contact me via WhatsApp for support. Anytime. I will also be adding more free and cool stuff for you over time, so remember that your payment now is just once off and gives you lifetime updates and access to the cool stuff.